Hey, how are you doing? I was just waiting for you to start. Today we're going to talk about a very sensitive topic. So take a seat and let's start. And our topic is racism, but we will focus in a specific part of it, the systemic racism. You've probably heard about racism, which is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that's a minority or marginalized. You should know everything that I already said, but have you ever heard the term systemic racism? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. So let's start by how it began. The beginning of the systemic racism is associated to the ending of the slavery. And oh my, they don't have a peaceful moment, right? Unfortunately, yes, they had a lot of problems to deal with. When the slavery ended, there were lots of powerful farmers, which were very unsatisfied because they would lose a lot of money. And in a successful attempt to isolate that community, they helped to create what we call now by redlining. The redlining consists of the demarcation of a neighborhood by banks, pointing out that they should avoid investments in that area, based on the ethnicity or race. In the USA, the redlining happened when the communities were already formed, so there was a structure where they could help each other. This created neighborhoods like Brooklyn or Bronx. On the other hand, in Brazil there was no structure, and the black community didn't have access to clean water or even basic sanitation. They settled themselves in the hills, creating the favelas, which were almost redlined by itself due to the lack of basic sanitation and irregular constructions. The redlining is one of the worst parts of the systemic racism because it causes lots of other problems. So, systemic racism is basically the racism practiced by institutions, which don't support or neglect the black community. As a proof that it happens nowadays, a Brazilian Institute of Research, popularly called by IBGE, found out that in 2019 the black community was about 56% of all the population in the country. But the occupancy rate in important positions in some of the largest companies is only about 30%. And the anti-racism movement called by Race Forward found out that in 2010 a black child was 2.5 times more likely to die before his first year when compared to a white child. As a cultural researcher named Kawam Anthony Apaya said, some people and some institutions don't mean to be racist, because sometimes being racist doesn't mean to offend someone. It could be something smaller, but that also makes difference. For example, if you are white and you ask for some information at the same time or even after a black person, it's more likely that attendants try to help you before the black person. So, if something like that happens to you, refuse to receive this privilege. Just say thank you, but you should help him. He was here first. These small acts can start to change our community and the ways we think. Then, soon, we all can live in an equal world.